Ministry. So today's scripture is Genesis chapter 49, verse 1 through 7. Then Jacob called for his sons and said, "Gather around so I can tell you what will happen to you in days to come. Assemble and listen, sons of Jacob. Listen to your father Israel. Reuben, you are my firstborn, my might, my first sign of my strength, excelling in honor, excelling in power. Turbulent as the waters, you will no longer excel, for you went up onto your father's bed, onto my couch and defiled it. Simon and Levi are brothers. Their swords are weapons of violence. Let me not enter their council, let me not join their assembly, for they have killed men in their anger and hamstrung oxen as they pleased. Cursed be their anger, so fierce, and their fury, so cruel. I'll gather them in Jacob and disperse them in Israel." So today's scripture is Jacob calling for his sons before his death and blessing them or telling them what's going to happen. So in this first 7 chapters we just read, we only know what's going to happen to Reuben, Simon, and Levi. Before we continue, we have to remember that Jesus is a descendant of Jacob. We can clearly tell that Reuben, Simon, and Levi will not continue Jesus' family line. And it's because Reuben defiled his father's bed and Simon and Levi were violent. When I read this scripture, I realized that God doesn't choose his people just randomly. Starting from Abraham, he had reasons for each one of them, and he chose the people of faith. God didn't choose someone who may be more beneficial and favorable in the eyes of the world. For example, Esau, in the eyes of the world, Esau may have been more suitable to be the ancestor of Jesus rather than Jacob. But God just chose Jacob, even though he had many flaws. And Jacob, if we continue on to the next chapter, we learn that Judah will be the one who's going to continue Jesus' family line. He says, "Judah, your brothers will praise you, your hands will be in the neck of your enemies. Your father's son will bow down to you." And I think it's because even though we don't know the exact reasons why Jacob chose Judah, he may be the man of faith among his brothers, and that may be the reason that God chose Judah. He is not the firstborn, and he doesn't have the authority of Egypt. He doesn't have anything to appeal in the world, but due to his faith, God chose him. I think Genesis is more of a stories that include many histories and connections that will lead on to New Testament. So as you read this, I hope you remember that eventually the Bible is about coming of Jesus, and the stories will eventually lead to his coming and will witness God's plan and promises being all fulfilled. Okay, let's pray. Dear God, thank you for today. Thank you for your words. We learned that Judah will be Jesus' ancestor, and that you chose him not because he was something that the world admires to, or he has something that he can appeal to the world, but it's because of his faith. And you've chosen other people like Abraham and Isaac because due to their faith as well. So I pray that we'll read your word and we'll continue to witness your fulfillment. And God, please guide us through this week. We love you. In your name I pray. Amen. Bye.